So this seminar is Win More, Better Business. I think that says everything that it needs to say, but it's a big decision to make, to decide to take your business into competition with other similar businesses. It can be a big move, but it's a bit of a black art, some people may say, but it's a very good thing to be involved with as well. If you decide to go for competitive tenders, there are many tenders out there that you could have a stab at, and the thing is it easily delivers long-term contracts. So the first thing we're thinking about here today is what is a tender. You shouldn't expect to receive information or notification about tenders from the procurement organisation that's issuing the tenders. It's very much up to yourself to make sure that you get to hear about opportunities that are coming available. So when it comes to tenders, do you actually know what you're looking for, or indeed what you're looking at? Tendering terminology can be a little bit confusing. We'll all have seen descriptions, and they always look quite off-putting. So these are probably the most common words and acronyms that you'll see in relation to bids and tenders. What makes it even more confusing is that a number of these words have different meanings. I mean, we're in a seminar. A seminar is a seminar. Wherever you go, it's only got one meaning. A call or a proposal or a bid or a tender, these are all words that have several different meanings. I have my own way of defining certainly bids and tenders and proposals as simply as possible for clients, and I would usually call a tender to be what the procuring organisation issues to suppliers. A bid, on the other hand, is what a supplier submits to the procuring organisation in response to a tender. A proposal, I think, is slightly different, and that's quite often put forward by a supplier to a potential user of a solution, any solution. The other type is a call, which is often called a call for proposals, and that might be related to funding, for example, European funding. And a lot of tenders usually relatively nice and easy. A simple response to the tender was usually enough. But now you may have pre-tender meetings or pre-tender presentations. Suppliers are always looking for value for money, and often the result of a tender is based on what we call MEAT, M-E-A-T, which is most economically advantageous tender. P-win is something else that you'll hear about in tendering circles. And that actually has two meanings as well. So some people are looking at it as a probability of winning, and others may look at it as price to win. But I think it's worth saying that price to win does not mean going in cheap. It means exactly the opposite. If you go in cheap, you do have a chance of winning. But going in and showing value for money is a much more important thing to do. Business people face challenges every single day, and the challenges that are faced in the tendering arena are no different to those others. Deadlines are deadlines. You can't miss the submission date for a tender. And you shouldn't leave things till the last minute. We all know of companies that receive a tender and then put it on the in tray or to one side and decide they're going to deal with it later. By the time they get round to it, it's just far too late. They haven't got enough time to respond to it. Poor specifications within tenders is another issue. And by creating excellent relationships with your clients, either current or prospect clients, you should be able to discuss any issues that come up related to specification with them. You do have to take some care in order to meet all the requirements, but the best thing to do is to speak to the people. So any business that wishes to get involved in tendering needs to take seriously their bid resource and make sure they have a bid team that is well resourced and up to the task at hand. It's a big decision as to whether to bid or not bid on an opportunity that comes up. There are all sorts of reasons that people might use to decide whether they should bid or not bid. So this diagram is attempting to show that the better decisions are reached by using data-driven decisions. The important thing about writing is you must produce a bid that the evaluator wishes to read and is willing to give good marks for. And when you submit your bid, you've met the deadline, but it just so happens that on this occasion you've drawn the short straw. The evaluator is going to sit down on a Friday afternoon to evaluate your bid. He's wanting to get away with his colleagues for a drink, sharp 4 o'clock, but he's got your bid sitting in front of him. So you need to make sure that you've done everything you can to keep the evaluator happy and make the job as quick as possible for that person. You have to keep it concise, keep it snappy. You should spell it out to the client at the first time of use so that they know exactly what you're referring to. It has to be consistent, so keep to the same tense at all times. Don't flip from present tense to past tense and so on. It has to be compelling, so you have to make sure that your win themes are highlighted to the client throughout the document. Make a judgment on what the procurement people are actually looking for. So you don't just answer the question, you go beyond that and provide the solution plus, if you like. You should always tell the customer why they should select you, and that's probably something that should go into the executive summary. Don't make it all about you. It's not about what you can do, it's what you can do for the customer. I'd like to thank you for your time. Thanks very much.